illustrate them, and I publish them online, and we are creating an adventure for the Eberron campaign setting. I'm pressing a bunch of buttons, so don't mind me. We'll be gearing up. There we go. We're live. So let me drop down the volume here so it's not invasive. There we go. We're live. And drop down to there. And let's see, are we active? There's some weirdness happening with my there we go. I think that stabilized. So just a hot second here. We'll get up and running. So we're going to do some artwork this morning. We're creating an adventure for the Eberron campaign setting. It's for characters levels 7 to 8. And we're fighting undead and demons and necromancer in the Carnwood of Karrnath on the continent of Corvair. I've been creating content on DMsGuild since 2018. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. I've been an Eberron enthusiast since 2005, and I've been DMing since 1987. But I've yet to publish an actual adventure. So Eberron is the place where I like to. That's the homebrew world of my choice. So I wanted to pay homage to the process and publish content using Eberron. I could either publish it on Patreon or I could put it on DMsGuild. And I figured DMsGuild would probably be the right place to be. So like and subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Hey, we have more subscribers than last time. Thank you guys. Here's the full playlist of all 396 episodes. And here's the book cover that we created around episode 40. Get that out of the way. We're currently working on a Ultraloth demon leading an army of undead. So we're going to continue the let's drop the fog off of there, and let's remove the back line. We'll take away the Yugoloth for now, and bop, 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 bop. Let's focus on where we are at with this dude. We are currently working on gear, so let's drop down here in the corner. I've got about an hour or so this morning to play. This is going to be we have a border that's going to be concealed in, but I'm going to expand it out just a little bit, you know, just because. Where are we at? Here we am. So let's drop all that in there. We'll probably get this dude done today and start in on the next. I'm not sure exactly how long anything particularly ever takes. We just keep building it out until it's done. So thanks a lot for new folks that have been joining the stream. I am absolutely just love what we are doing. Let's see, flesh. And where's this coming in from? Back. Bone. There, that's our bone color. Get that out of the way. There, that feels good. We'll tighten that up. Tighten that up. And we'll drop some more shadow into here. Finish that out. Most of the brush work I do is brush and is paintbrush and smudge brush. I have a couple of different. When it's a paintbrush, at this stage of the game, when I'm just doing detail and texture, it's usually going to be just a simple round solid brush. I'm just using Photoshop and yeah, round, solid round brush, and we have a couple of different smudge tools, custom built brushes that we make that make use of the rotational effect of the Z-axis that's available. Let's see, that's like that. That's there, and then let's go look for our line art here. that into the proper shape with the rest of the shield. And we'll end up blending all of the ink, the line art, and the color layers together to make a single layer that we can then use the line art to help create more texture over the color that we have been detailing. Take that to there. So in the evenings when I'm off screen, I have been working on the page layouts for this document, and we're currently inside the dungeons. There's four, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's 4 different region maps inside the adventure that are like actual dungeons. Well, there's a room. There's technically one's a cemetery. Another one is a fort ruins. Another one is an elevator gatehouse. And then there's an actual underground laboratory, which is a true dungeon. And so we've been going through the process of that makes sense like that. Hold on. Yeah, that feels right. And here. Let's curve that in like that. Shape that up. Like that. So we've been working on the page layouts off screen. Once all the page layouts are actually done, and boy, that it takes a while to do that. But once it is resolved, we will be able to, hold on, merge that down. Now what the hell, let's just merge this all down. Then the line art layer. I feel like there's a trap in here somewhere. Yeah, once we finish the layouts, we'll be able to do artwork in the evening off screen as well as here in the mornings. I do artwork Monday through Friday in the morning like this. And then I have a lunchtime stream that we run doing design work. We'll be on Thursday night, tomorrow night, and Friday lunch, and then Saturday brunch morning. Then we'll be back on probably Monday lunchtime, Tuesday lunchtime, Wednesday lunchtime, Thursday we have Thursday night, and then Friday morning lunch, and then we'll loop back around. So we stream 10 times per week typically, and I think this is okay enough as that sits. Let's add the filigree back in just to help build frame. And where's our reference material? We have our zombie wet work, and let's see. Bone is looking good. Fleshy bits. What is going on in there? There it is. It's little brighter patches that we're working on there. That feels pretty good. We'll do that. That feels pretty good. Let's go back to the line layer. No. There we are. Cleanup lane around here. There we go. There, get some bone in there, and then we'll go back to the bone layer. Good. And let's erase some of this crud. Crud. There it is. We dump a bunch of stuff into the illustration, and then we carve out to help refine the shape of what we're working with. And right now we've just got a lot of crud hanging around on screen that I'd rather just remove a bit to clean up the image, just so we have a more clear idea of where we're actually working here. Oh, hey, what's going on, Duff? Buenos dias to you. Tilt my screen here so I can see a little bit better. This is where the edge of my camera is, but you can't see it because it's invisible. It still allows you to see me in general, but it gets the chat screen that's underneath my picture here a little bit closer to my face so I can read it. Yeah, we're making Undead today. We're going to be making Undead for probably the rest of the week. Well, definitely the rest of this week, but potentially into next week as well. We might get this illustration done by this time next week, and. But yeah, in the off screen when I'm doing the page layouts, I'm currently breaking up the dungeon maps that we have into their individual room components, like rooms or areas, and then dropping them onto the page that we have laid out, and then we're trying to carve the text of each room or the information of the dungeon. We're trying to carve that. Text into the space so it fits with the map on the actual space available on the page. And sometimes we have to eliminate layers of text, and then we have to start deciding which details are really important and which ones aren't. So that is an arduous task of just trimming. And we had Stuart Braz as our editor for this document, and he did a great job helping us create the right structure and like form and formatting for the information. But when we built the document, we weren't really concerned. I was honestly not thinking about what page format I would want to use. And when we decided on the 16:9 format, it's restrictive because I only have a 10-inch by 5-inch space to, technically like a 9.5 by 5-inch space to place text in. And we're using a 12-point font, so that means we have about something like around 40 lines of text in 5-inch blocks that can go down the page that we have to break up all the information in the adventure into these chunks of information that can fit into here. I'll show you real quick. You came for the art? Yeah, right on, man. Love it. Thank you. Let me distract you from what you love then and show you the actual document that we're working on here in Word. So you can see throughout the document here that, well, this is just the Word document that we're working in, but you can see that we've broken up all the information into these like really clean format of these columns. And as we go through here, you can see like each column has isolated ideas. Here's this is not the actual map. This is just a sample that I put in, but we'll have like when we get done with this, we're going to have a little key map here. Like this indicates this, that, like this has this condition, this provides this condition, stuff like that. hazards, and just labels in general. But as we go through the document, each column has complete thoughts inside of them. They're isolated ideas. And so all these blank spots that we have is where here's a building, and you can, with the map, you can lift the lids off of the buildings to see the interior space. So all of these gaps in here are filled up with different types of interior building spaces or like tokens or other illustrations. But the editing process has me breaking down all these. And again, these are 12-point fonts. So it's pretty easy to read. Well, like this is 12 point. These are all 12-point fonts. It's all pretty easy to read. That's like a 20-inch font, I think, there. But again, the point is that I'm breaking up like this. This doesn't. This is probably the sloppiest example of breaking up information here, and then down the line here. But even those, it's concise to its own page. And this is a forest map that we're going to be dropping in. Here's another forest map that we'll be dropping in next to these optional encounters. Small isolated optional map, another optional map, or rather like pre-constructed maps using the forest toolkit that we made here on stream. And then we'll have an illustration here. But again, all these ideas are broken into their individual, for the most part, other than breaking the rule that we have here. But even this is isolating thoughts. So once the characters have traveled 10 miles into the cardwood, they can read the following out loud. The sharp sounds of tree branches cracking, then falling through underbrush, echoes between the towering trees, and growls and panic screams that die off after a moment. The source of commotion is 300 feet north of the character's location. When the characters arrive, read the following. And so even though we're in the same flow of thought, it's breaking into segments. So the underbrush of the forest gives way to a large tree where two people in Karnath uniforms are perched within, next to a freshly snapped branch. At the base of the trunk, a pack of sickly dogs fight over the body of a third beneath the fallen limb. As you approach, the soldiers call out warnings to stay clear. And then you have 7 plague hounds, which is a CR type animal. And then if the characters defeat the hounds or lead them away, the 2 surviving mercenaries are thankful for the characters' help, but warn that the forest is not safe and that the characters need to leave. If the characters identify themselves as deputies, blah, blah, blah. And then here's information that you can milk from them if you're talking to them based on the persuasion checks that you're making. Now, the influence action, these are the results that you get with the different ability check results that you can get. But even though this is the topic spans multiple columns, each column is its own isolated thought. Intro, situation that you see, resolution. And that is the most column spanning concept that we have inside this game. Everything else is, again, breaking down into individual columns. So we're still working on the cemetery. The cemetery is still a hot mess. The Forgotten Cemetery, there you go. But we're attempting to start breaking it up into separate columns here, you can see. And then we have an area inside of the cemetery. So these are the preliminary spaces that we've created with gaps for the maps. The Flooded Fort is what we're currently working on. And this is also, we're starting to be able to, these are unrefined text. This is all the text that was edited originally, but I need to trim this text down to about here. So whatever this block of text is, I need to find out a way for it to not be necessary to get the point across. And then over here, I'm going to need to strip away about this much text, so I have enough space here at the bottom of the columns to have a stretch of map for the fortress area that we're working with. And then we have a vertical area here that we're going to fill with a map, and then we'll probably have another small map over here. So most of the illustrations in these dungeons are the maps that we've already created. It's just, and here's this page is completely full. I need to cut out about half the text on this page to make this work. Luckily, we were really verbose when we made this document, which is allowing me to take a lot of flavor out of it. But I have to, because there's so much description, I've been finding I can carve out enough to make it work and still be the flavor. And here's all the scrap that we're already pulling from that section. It was ridiculously verbose. Here's the gatehouse, which has been completed. So we have the actual gatehouse map will be here. And then we have a specific map here We have another specific map here and a specific map here. And this is technically spanning, this is technically bridging the gap again, spreading from one column to the next. But it's self-referential with the DC and the information framing around the results that you can roll. And there's only 2 results. Either you fail the roll, you have nominal support. So if you meet the captain of the mercenaries that are patrolling this area, they'll either you either start fighting with them because you get violent. You're able to convince them that your cause is worthy, but have not convinced him to break his oath of protecting the area from by his employers or clients. So he'll escort you out of the manifest zone area and says, hey, as long as we don't see you, we can't technically, we did our job by leading you out of the manifest zone. If you come back in and do stuff and we don't hear about it, we can't find you, then obviously we don't have any reason to stop you. But if you roll high enough over here, separately, is if you can convince the captain that what you're doing is for the good of the community and the nation of Karnath, you'll be like, I really don't like these dudes in the first place. All this undead stuff is like way over what they said we were going to have to be dealing with. We feel like we made a contract in bad faith. I'm ready to break it. And you're providing me with a justification for me to actively stop helping who you're identifying as an enemy here, and for us to just let you do your job. And if you have to, you can call on us. So you have those 2 degrees, the 3 degrees of failure, pseudo, like partial success, and then full success. So I was able to break those into separate columns, so they feel like separate thoughts, you know. But I'm cheating my own system a little bit, which is fine because I created it. But yeah, and then we haven't done the Nexus yet, which is the last dungeon. But we've already started to break up the segments into areas. But again, this is still really rough. So shouldn't that be a colon after allow? Oh, you know what? You're probably right. You are probably correct. Hold on. I'll go back up there since we're talking about it. But yeah, I mean, if we catch it, we may as well fix it so it doesn't get lost. And I'm probably going to actually trim out that text all because I don't want to have to put, hey, read the following aloud for like every freaking area that you have to read out loud. So it's possible that we're going to strip that away. Read the following out loud. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. Like, it gets a little redundant after a while. Do I need to tell you every time to read that out loud? Probably not. So, but anyway, I just wanted to share how that's progressing, and that's what I do off screen, and it is, I don't mind admitting, it is torturously difficult to go through that process, because we're basically trying to peel apart the document and pull it back together with less text. So it's a challenge. This is by far the most challenging work that I have ever done so far, and it's satisfying, but whoo dilly it is. I'm looking forward to it being done. quite frankly, when it is finished, I will be happy. Where is my, okay, here's my references over here. Anyway, that was a tangent. Let's see, go up here to reference, and let's break this apart. There, so I can grab some wet work from inside here. Like, that's a good bit. But it'll be pretty good when it's done. So it's worth the pain. Yeah, tons of work. I've literally been working on this for years. Like 2022, I think, mid 2022 is when I started streaming the maps for this. Whew, boy, Andy, my co-writer, and Stuart have been very, very patient with the production of this. But, you know, it takes, and I've burned out on it, so I had to take a break from it for a while, and then the reason I'm working on so many other projects is because I do not want to burn out on this again. I have to get it done. It has to get off my plate, and I have to move on to something else. And as long as this is still on my production line, it's like it's my nemesis right now. I have to resolve it. But once I do, I've got all these other books that we've been working on. I get to just explode out of the gate and start working on all that stuff. And they're all like character options and DM options are so much easier to format. And like adventures are by far the most difficult thing to produce, because you have to coordinate all the visual elements in space with each other. The text and the maps and the artwork all has to coincide pretty much on the page that they take place on. So having a ridiculously verbose document it just doesn't work. So I had to learn it the hard way. If we had not taken the break from this project and created the Spelljammer document, because there's a 25-page conversion guide for the Light of Xeraxis adventure where we basically go through the entire adventure and make all the changes that we need using the Spelljammer mechanics that we developed. So that gave me enough experience in layouts and adventure design for me to acknowledge how difficult the task is, but then I had enough experience for me to actually start tackling it. So as much as I lament how long it's taken, I recognize the path as a creator that I've been going on to prepare myself to actually be able to execute this and be able to produce something that I can be proud of. So it's we don't always know why it is we go through the twists and turns of our life that we go through, and we often lament that it's not how we had things planned. But on the other side of it, we can very, very often see the wisdom of the events that unfolded for us. So I've seen that occur way too many times throughout my life, of coincidences and following my gut and being rewarded by the world with whatever cool stuff I discover along the way. It's I trust the process, and I still lament and bemoan the lack of efficiency. But there's so much stuff that I want to do, and I recognize that I'm still developing the skills to be able to accomplish them. That everything that like I said, everything that I've been doing has ultimately led me to the ability to produce what I wanted. And I can only be thankful for that. So that's me rambling anyway. I'm using well, I just dropped it. I'm using an Intuos pad. I use a 9x6 Intuos Pro. I'm legally blind, so I have a 32-inch monitor, and that monitor is literally this far, like from the tip of my thumb to the tip of my pinky is as far as the screen is away. Like when I'm reading your text, it's a little bit further than the width of my hand. So I've got 2200 vision, and because of the retinas that I have, I can't improve it with glasses. That's just, I have a fixed resolution. My eyes can't even zoom. So if I want to zoom, I literally have to move my face closer to the object for it to get bigger for me to see more details. So it's called a chromatopsia. There's a link to it down below, but I don't have any cones in my eyes. So cones control, obviously, they control color, but they also control image resolution, like focusing on things. I can't do that because I don't have the firmware that allows the camera angle to focus and pull that information into my brain. So I'm stuck at a specific very low I have basically like a tenth of the resolution of a normal person, without any ability to change the hardware to improve it. And so I have to have a small tablet because I have my keyboard that I have underneath the screen, and then between the keyboard and my chest is enough space for the Wacom, the small 9x. It's a 9x12. The 9x12 tablet. There's 9 inches of space between the keyboard and my chest, so I'm drawing like this all the time. So I don't do like big sweepy arm movements like all the professionals do. I have to use the tools that I have available to me to be able to produce the effects that I want. So very, very limited. Very limited. So a big kick I get out of doing this work at all is being able to work in color, because it's all great. It's all grayscale to me. Yeah, right on. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I use about three, like the top edge of the Wacom is underneath the keyboard, which is why you'll hear it rattling occasionally when I'm stamping on buttons. But yeah, I use hotkeys with my left hand. And I have my entire grid set up so I can hit all the keys that I need to paint within one hand's grasp, and then the other hand is free for me to do art. And then I use the Art Pen TM that has it has two. You've got two radio transmitters in a normal pen, one at the top and one at the bottom, so that you can recognize the tilt of the pen. But the Art Pen TM, it costs an extra $100. It's free if you have like the big visual, like display pen that you can draw directly on screen with. That has the Art Pen TM, and that has 3 radio signals in it. One here, and one here, so that you can recognize like when you're spinning in space, because these two nodes are rotating around each other in relation to the one on top. So you get this Z, X, Y, and Z axis spin, so you can create exotic shapes and be able to have it. Like if I couldn't freely spin my mouse, I wouldn't be able to do the stippling, like the Bob Ross stippling effects that I do, because most of it relies on me being able to rotate. Like if you check out the tree map, that the tree illustration that I had produced, you can see how I'm using the foliage, and when I'm tapping, I'm spinning the brush around to create these fractal patterns and like little leaf groupings. And I wouldn't be able to do that without the ZBrush. I actually had to go into Photoshop and manually. Here, I'll show you. I had to actually physically go in. Let's see, where is it? Map here and brush settings. I used to actually have to come in here and like physically rotate this brush when I wanted to continue stippling. And I had to do that for about a month before I realized that Wacom sold an art pen separately that would work, but it only worked with specific types of tablets. So I had to end up buying a new tablet, the Intuos Art Pro 2. Come on, Turkey. Just press 0, Kearney, and get on with your life. There. Yeah, the Intuos 2 is it's $400 in America, and so yeah, I had to buy one of those so it would recognize the functionality of the art pen, the basic. Like the really small Intuos, the non-pro Intuos don't use the Z-axis, so I wouldn't be able to use it at all to be able to produce the art that I want. Anyway, long story short, too late. A little bit of clean up there. This guy's looking pretty good. I like it. Okay, cool. Line art's looking good. Our gore's coming along. I think I want to do... let's go back to our reference here and get some darker wetness. I'll brush that on. Here, and then we'll end up blending it all together. But I want to be here. I'm going to fill in these gaps like that. And then we actually blend when we merge the art, the line art in with the color, we'll be able to play around with the texture and make it a little bit wetter. But I wanted to get these shadows in place while we're looking at it. Contrast increases the appearance of reflection or moisture. So that's what we're attempting to achieve with this effect right now. I've got a flicker going on my light. If it doesn't clear up, I'll see if I have to mess around with it a little bit. But it's another distraction. I can be over here. I can gore this down a little bit. Yeah. Well, you know, if I didn't need a brush that fancy until I started, until the techniques that I was using demanded it. But I just used a basic. I used a basic Wacom for like a decade before I started getting intense into stippling and texturing and brush creation and stuff. And that happened when I took my portfolio to PiezoCon, the first year of PiezoCon that was at SeaTac here in the Seattle metro area. I took my portfolio and they said, your character art's good, but your environments need to improve. And if they do, we'd be happy to hire you. And so that started a 2-year mission on me getting really good at building environments and nature and stuff. And by the time I'd finished that course, I learned that you only get paid about $500 for a half page of Paizo art. And it's like, you guys are like the #2 role-playing game. How can you pay so little? And so I just lost interest in contracting with them because it wasn't. It was the amount of work I would have had to put in to be able to produce the results that I wanted would not have been worth the $500 I would have gotten. And that's like book covers were like $700 because they were doing like those half cover images, like the character art and then like a scene behind it and then large blocks of font and a blank screen that didn't require any kind of illustration. So they got away with doing half page and character commissions. So they'd hire Wayne Reynolds to do all the character commissions for the covers, and then they'd hire somebody else to do the environment. And I could have potentially gotten into doing environment work, but again, I lost faith in working with them, so I just let it go. And that was about the same time that I decided to start creating my own PDFs because there was no way I was going to get paid what I wanted to get paid. So I was like, well, instead of getting paid to do artwork, why don't I just make a book and put my artwork in it so I can pay myself to do my own art? And if the book doesn't sell well and I don't get paid a lot, I can just blame myself for needing to make better books instead of being angry that I get paid so little for my art. I could shift the focus so that I could adapt and improve on what I could control. And if I'm selling my art to other book publishers, I can't control how well their book is going to sell. So that's just taking away a degree of accountability from me that at that time I desperately needed to be able to produce the art that I wanted. So anyway, that's my journey. That's my journey. And that was like, I want to say like 2016, 2018, somewhere around there. Yeah, it was like around 2018. So it was a while ago. And my art has advanced considerably since then. And that feels pretty good. So I'm going to leave that like that. Like the wetness, it feels good. I'm going to drop all this into a folder and call it... No. Oh, God damn it. I can't call it anything. I'm running out of space. Come on, Jive Turkey. Organs. Yeah, I'm starting to get seizures off of this flashing light. Give me a second. Yeah, I'm starting to get seizures off of this flashing light. There we go. More stable now. 7:30, so we still got a half hour to go. I could probably get this guy taken care of. 7:30, so we still got a half hour to go. I could probably get this guy taken care of. Black blood of the earth. You mean coffee? I mean black blood of the earth. They'll come out no more. What won't come out anymore? Huh, Eggshin? What was that? Sorry, I'm cracking out the old Big Trouble Little China references. This is under flesh, so let's go find where that's at. That was over here is where I was grabbing that bit. So I'm going to grab this highlight here to drop over it. So we'll put the highlights in, and then we'll add, again, another degree of shadow so we can create moisture and like slickness and add depth. I like that. And that would be the bone layer. Once we get these basic highlights resolved and we merge all of the layers together, I can do a much more thorough cleanup. But I want to make sure that I've gotten to that place. Here, let's fill that in. We've got grit. We've got a yellowish color for the teeth that we're going to use. But in the meantime, posted a pic of something I did on Discord. Oh, cool. That's more my style when it comes to drawing, particularly with one of the games I'm developing. No shit. You dropped into my Discord? Awesome. I'll take a look at it, obviously. Looking forward to it. Add just a little pinch along here. So far, so good. Wet. Here's our flesh base. Right, there's our highlights. So now I want to drop in shadow. So let's see. Yeah, that should probably be a decent color. And let's use our guitar pick for shadow. Actually, I feel like I want to put this over. Yeah, that feels better. Just like that. Put that across like that. We're gonna have, again, once we actually merge the layers, we're gonna have a lot of fun with actually blending all these elements together. That's my favorite part, is when I merge the line art into the color. You get to just start messing around with it. That's looking pretty good. And I just need to work on the skull a little bit, and I think I should be done. With the line art in general, we'll be able to just transition into into the next bit. Let's go with wet. Let's go with the wet layer there and overlap that. And let's go find our skull. And that's an interesting tone. Should be able to use that a little bit. The crystals need to darken down a lot. About like that. And let's go back down to the bone layer. Eliminate that. Now we can go back into here and find, let's go with purple. Interesting. A bluishness. Let's see if that feels right. I'm going to put a separate layer on that in case it's wrong. I like that. I think that's okay. There, and let's go grab some yellow for the teefies. Yeah, that's a real yellow. And now the crystals, I want a like that. That. Hey, what's up, Nightmare? So far, so good, my dude. Man, the amount of drama that crops up on a Thursday for me is ridiculous. Oh, this is only Wednesday. Shit. I thought I was going to get away with having a decent day. Potentially no such luck. Dude, I hope I hope it doesn't go too far off the rails for you. Yeah, Thursdays are my days of chaos. Like, if something's gonna go fucking weird, it's gonna be on a Thursday. So I am in the tunnel. But yeah, thanks for all the input on the Martial Powers redesigns. Your playtest is definitely paying off. It's something that just absolutely needs to be done, and the insights that we are already pulling from the the forays into the dungeon are absolutely going to make this such a much better book. I wasn't sure if Martial Powers was going to end up working out or not. It's like highly experimental stuff, but it's I've been working on that over a year now. So I guess if I just apply pressure long enough, something cool comes out the other end. Oh, yeah, that feels right. Let's drop the opacity on that. Oh shit. I put that all in the same layer. Well, I better like it. So we're going to leave that free. The one layer I am not going to merge down to the rest of the mess is the crystals. But I'm going to take this entire stack. I'm going to put it into a single layer. I'm going to duplicate that layer, or that group. I'm going to merge it. So now I've got a single layer that I can cut through. So we can start going in and doing cleanup and texturing. So now that all the layers are blended together, I can drop down into here and start messing around with the lines blending into the form. This is the way that we do it. When I start doing Kickstarters, I'm probably going to work just in black and white. Yeah, no kidding, right? Too bad, Charles. Gonna have to stick with it. Luckily, none of the. Luckily, my intent was to blend it all into the same layer eventually. Anyway, I'm going to take these crystals and pull them out into their own layer, so I can make sure I attend to them properly. But for now, I'm just going to leave the entire stack. I'm going to duplicate that actually. Duplicate. Yeah, it happens occasionally. We can carve away at the form. This isn't technically my priority right now. I don't know. It's all the same, right? I mean, it's all a priority. It's all got to get done at some point. How much time do I have left? 20 minutes? Okay. Give myself 20 minutes left. Yeah, once the layouts are done, like in a piece like this, I could take like all the iterative. Get that out of the way. Like I could do all these dudes off screen because you're already seeing the process of me going through this. Like you don't necessarily need me to do every single one of them, but I do enjoy doing them. So having some of them on screen, and like when the task starts to become repetitive and dull, that's generally when I'm interested in taking it offline to work on later. Which is why I don't do page layouts on screen very much, because layouts is like just push the same line, remove that word, does it still make sense, rewrite it, push the text around, does it make sense now, cool, next line. It's like a line by line fight to make sure everything fits and makes sense when we do so. It's just the struggle is fecking real. So you see, I can take the line art and I can push the color into the line to give it more form, and I can push the line into the color to create curved shadow, like form shadowing. So those are different techniques that I can use with this blended method, and it's just smudge work, right? So I can smudge into shape the objects that I want on the body. Now that I have the base color in place, I can then use the color line art balance to add depth to the form, increase the level of realism a touch, without worrying about becoming hyper real. And we're gonna push this up into the 60s. Actually, I'm gonna pull it up almost near 80. Depending on like what kind of smudge I want to do, I'll adjust the strength of the smudge pull. crank that up to 90. Text, what's up? Is a Philippine artist. It's the struggle is real, my man. It's like these teeth. I don't need a hard outline around the teeth, so I can thin that line down to add to add some material language to it. There, like that. And again, we're just using a smudge brush at different strengths to push stuff around. So we can just use light blending here. This brush that we're using, here I'll show you. I will use the actual brush to paint. This is what the smudge brush is. It has a hard front edge that's a tip that can like push artwork like a boat through water. It creates a bubble of pixels that move forward, and then on the back end here it's a gradient fade. So depending on which direction I'm facing when I use the smudge brush, if I'm using the pointy end, I can carve through it like that. If I'm using the curved end, I can that wasn't a good example. I can smudge fade like this, and depending on how I turn the brush, I can get a blend of edge and fuzz off of the same brush. So depending on how I manipulate it, I can create different type of patterns like that. So that's what it's my guitar pick, quote unquote. And once I actually get to a point, I'll be posting this brush set for anyone that wants them on Photoshop. Once I've got my 500 subscribers, but I need to get to 3,000 hours so I can start like having a marketplace underneath my ads, so I can start posting. I can start putting up stock art, and then using the stock art. The plan I plan on going with is you can buy my stock art for single use, or if you want to continue using my art for other projects, if you have a $1 subscription with my Patreon, you'll have unlimited usage rights of any art that you buy from me. That's a pretty normal arrangement that a lot of freelance illustrators use for offering stock art that I want to implement as well. But I haven't gotten there yet. I'm almost to that point. I'm like at 2,876 hours of annual content viewed on this stream, which is a pretty big accomplishment considering how unorganized this stream is in general. There, like that. But yeah, once I get there, I'll post the brushes for free for people to gank if they're interested in having them. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to be. I'm hoping to start doing Kickstarters in 2026. So I need to start thinking. I need a website. I don't even have a website. I need a website so I can do emails, so I can collect emails, so I can promote a Kickstarter project. So I have to build a website. Fortunately, the patent office, the trademark came through for the Kickstarter that I want to do, Guild Delvers. I officially have that as a trademark now for printed publication in games. So I can, but I have to demonstrate, I have to have on file a usage of the trademark for me to be able to retain it. So by May, I have to have a website up that's demonstrating the concept of Guild Delvers. So I can use that to start building a website around accumulating emails for people that are interested in that as a role-playing game that I would then be able to use to, again, market. I've never wanted to take this hobby seriously as a business because I don't want to. I really don't want to get into a place of like getting back. Now that I'm self-reliant on what I'm producing, I don't want to put myself in the same state where I was at with like Paizo. Like, this isn't worth my time to do this. I never want to feel that way about something that excites me. I don't want to say, well, wait a second, is that going to be useful to me? Is that going to be productive? It's like, no, I want to build it. I want to build it because I'm excited to build it, because if I'm excited about it, it's taking me down a path that's going to help me learn something that I'm going to need to become greater in the future. And if I'm always trying to quantify the value of every action that I take, I don't have any room for inspiration because it's not part of what I'm perceiving as an optimal path when I don't even know where the fuck I'm going. I don't know where life is going to lead me to. I don't even know what emotions I'm going to have in the next moment. I rarely know what the hell I'm even going to say in the next moment. So for me to build a plan of my future is honestly, it's ridiculous. I have to trust that I'm here for a specific reason to do whatever it is that I'm going to do, and that I'm going to do it no matter what I feel about it, because it's what my body decides to do. I am a passenger in this ride, and the more I'm willing to be on board with that idea, the more I can enjoy the scenery as it zips by. It's when I start micromanaging my life that I start losing the forest, for the trees. Because I start scrutinizing every goddamn tree. But that's the process of Phil. So, cheers. But yeah, the more I can destroy the line art, like merge the line art into the piece, better off we're going to be. And once I get all this blending, and then I can do another layer, I can do a final passover of texture, grit, lighting, highlights, shadow, wetness. But all this stuff needs to be blended together properly first for me to do that. And obviously this is the closest form, so this is the highest level of detail that I need to worry about. And as we cascade through more forms down the line, they'll have less and less detail. But we'll have established an anchor here for, like, this is the sort of stuff that you aren't going to be able to see as we move away from the bodies. Former 15 years. Right on, man. Hey, congrats on your subs. I like your work, man. You do cool shit. Your pixel art is freaking cray. And yeah, depending on what kind of a piece I'm working on, sometimes I do that same, like, the silhouette first, and then fill in all the details into the silhouette. It's great work. There's not I don't know of a lot of pixel artists that work at that degree. It's super cool. And it's very worth. There, that feels really, really good. And I can, like, create that little hollow space there. And this outline here, this line art, I blend that in, it becomes shadow. like that. And then again, staying inside the form, I push the color outward, and the line art recedes, so it becomes like back shadow on the form. So I can control my angle of perspective in the piece by where I add and remove color versus line art. There, like that. And since this is the closest piece, this is obviously, like I said, I need to put the most amount of detail here, so I can really just let myself gush over embellishments and flesh it all out. Pardon the pun, but really thicken it up and make it strong, and knowing that that's going to carry the inferred level of detail through the rest of the piece. And this is a different type. This is a rusted, like corroded shield. So I want to have on this edge here, I need to respect the properties of metal. So I want less of a fuzzy edge, which is a more organic feel. And I want a more hard edge here. It's like more stark contrast between shadow and highlight to represent the hard line nature of the metal material. So flesh and soft bits blend. Metal and hard points are more like hard lines, like strict, sharp contrast next to each other. That's a real easy way for me to be able to distinguish one sort of material from another. Like here in this soft bit, like I can do a fade here of the ribs into the rest of the frame because it's receding into the shadow. I can have a softer gradient to represent the curving of the ribs into the body, as opposed to down here. Again, I need to keep this sharp edge, and I don't need line art to carry that line edge along here, but I do want to have a little bit of discoloration for the condition of the material. So there we go, like that. Just like that. God, I love this stuff. So fun. Wet work is so fun. I love organs and gore and undeath. Stuff is just such a fun genre. I really miss my calling. I probably should be doing Cthulhu art. But I really love the fantasy genre. Some of the pixel art discords I'm on, I get blown away at some of the scenes right on, but I haven't seen anyone take on full realistic characters, so I thought that it's a great place to go. Pause for a bit, so I'm 5. Oh, right on, man. So you decided the purpose of the future is the process of... I'm almost out of time for this morning. It's 7:55. I'm going to have to bail, and if I've got like 3 minutes left on my clock, I'm going to just keep working the problem, creating solutions for this until my timer pops, and then I'm gonna have to bail. I'll be done for the day. I've got my home team, my current quote unquote home table, are coworkers, and we either play D&D on Mondays or Wednesdays. And since we had the holiday on Monday, we game today, so I won't be at lunch today for any kind of develop stream. I'll be fighting monsters in orbit over Eberron, and tomorrow will be, thanks for the love, and so I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue this piece, and then Thursday night, tomorrow night, we'll be back like around 5:30 or 6 till 9 Seattle time, working furthering the Bastion campaign supplement. We've pretty much established that instead of having individual rooms for each facility, we can group different facilities that perform different orders to get, like, anything that performs the crafting order can exist inside the same space. And depending on how many bastion points we're devoting to the order of crafting will set the size of the room that those facilities are in. So you can have a laboratory and a a workshop and a smithy all exist inside the same space, working together to produce materials or items. We don't have to have them separated into separate rooms, but like research is going to be a different space from crafting. Recruiting is going to be a different space from maintaining, stuff like that. So we've pretty much figured out the mechanics of how that works to be able to figure out, like, how big do facilities need to be in your bastion. And so we'll codify that on Thursday, and then we'll get back into looking at each individual facility that we can put bastion points into, and then start working on the facility perks that the characters or the bastion gets for putting points into developing that facility over something else. So once we get those facility perks resolved, we'll have a pretty functional document that the current playtest that we're working isn't suitable for a bastion campaign. It's the dungeon crawl is kind of antithetical to a bastion in a limited, like, if all we're going to do is dungeon delving, which is what we're currently slotted to do for the martial power playtesting, there is no real need to mess around with having a bastion fortress facility. But I've been using these concepts in my home table, my coworkers, for the past year. So it works really well. I just need the language that we're using at my home table is using the Kickstarter concepts that I'll be publishing as opposed to the bastion. So the bastion system is translating what I'm already doing with my home table into a 5e mechanic instead of like an OSR type mechanic. So so there will be it won't be quite the same, but the process has changed, but the workflow is the same, of creating complications and then the team choosing which complications to resolve as an adventure. And there's my timer. So they're starting a brand new episode today with a new challenge that they chose last week to take on. They're exploring what they think is going to be a heavily booby-trapped asteroid that's drifted into their orbit from their enemies, the Droam Empire. So Droam is just about actual, like, declared war enemies of my team's guild, and I don't know how the hell they're going to survive that. Droam, like, way outmatches them in size and resources. There's no way they can survive against Droam focusing fire against them, like, with intent. So that's probably going to end up being some sort of a diplomacy mission to try to get them to back off. Otherwise, their whole operation could end up folding just from having their resources taken away from them through military conflict, and they'll have to they'll basically have to sub-franchise out underneath another guild that has less conflicts, that's further away from Droam to prevent drawing their ire. But that's one of the options. If your bastion collapses, you can fold into basically leasing or becoming hirelings for another organization or a larger facility that has more resources than you, that you're partitioning off a chunk of them as your own resources that you're basically borrowing to perform your tasks. So that's an aspect of franchising that we have in the document that we'll spend more time detailing when we get to that. So I heard my alarm. I'm supposed to be quitting, but the muse, she is not letting me go quite yet. She's like, one more thing. I'm like, baby, you got to let me go. I got to go to work. She's like, no, one more thing, I swear. And so that's what I'm waiting for her to run out of steam so she'll let me go and I can get back and I can go to my day job. She'll let go here in a second, I'm sure. God, that looks really good. I need to break that up so it's less of a triangle and more grittish. There. See, I can get that fade, that gradient going on in here. You can't really do that properly with metal, but these fleshy bits, organic material, you can absolutely do stuff like that, and it looks great. At least I think it looks great, so shut up. But this is the process. This is how we do. Break that up so I have less hard lines. It blends in together a little bit better. Pockmark it a little bit from rot. All right, she's letting me go. That's it for now. God damn, I love that. And then we'll do more highlighting, like to push that rib cage back into the ribbons of flesh. But yeah, we're gonna do that, and we're just gonna continue going through that process until we have that same amount of like integration of the line art into the color to help create the form and the shadow effects. And God damn it, she's trying to grab at me again. No, baby, you gotta let me go. All right, there's that. All right, cool. So when we come back next time, we will continue working on this dude, get him fleshed out, pardon the pun, and then we'll work on this guy. I think I need to flare these hips a little bit more. But now that I've got the color integrating with the line art, I can add on layers of clay onto the model, as it were, and build that out properly. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's sitting so far. So that's it for now, guys. I'm gonna bounce. I will be back. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Hopefully, I'll get on earlier tomorrow morning, so we can work on this some more. I'll catch you guys. I'll catch you guys online. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we'll get it built. Everything will be as it's supposed to. But thanks. Appreciate the vote of confidence. I just need to take a little time and make it happen. So we'll probably take a weekend and do that. But yep, here we go. Once we finish that, we've got all these artifacts to create. So those are waiting out here for when I get stuck, bored, or procrastinate on this piece. We'll bounce over to this piece, and we'll start building all these out the same way. That's it for now, guys. I'll see you on the other side. Laters.